Supposedly we're live.
That's the rumor.
I don't trust YouTube anymore.
At least that's what all the glowy buttons say.
That's what all the cool kids say.
Yeah.
Hi, I'm Kayla Lords.
And I'm John Brownstone.
Of Loving BDSM, where we help kinksters like you have happy, healthy power exchange relationships. This is us live streaming our weekly podcast episode. We are here 8 minutes early. If you arrive after the live stream, but before the timestamps and don't want this part, you can fast forward 8 minutes. I don't exist until the live stream chat validates my existence. I'm not actually here. Silent Wing sees us! Liz sees us!
We've both been validated. Thank you, Liz.
Sounds like validating your parking. I never understood that. I'm a suburban and rural kid because I never lived in a city. I don't even know what validating parking means.
Yeah, I don't know either. I never.
Really? I figured you would know. I'm going to say hi to people in the live stream chat.
That was a New York City thing. I didn't.
Oh, okay. Hi, Bryn. Hi, Tayshu. Hi, Juniper. Hi, Christy. Hi, DeLast Laugh. Hi. I already said Juniper. I was going to say it again. Hi. Double hi to Juniper today. Hi, Mr. Spock. I have barely had coffee, so I don't know what I'm blaming that on. Hi, Silent Wing. Hi, Ignixia. I'm scrolling. Hi, Lauren. Hi, Aria. Hi, CW. Hi. Princel Patchel. What would you like us to call you? I can call you Princel Patchel. Just let me know.
Hi, everybody.
Hi, Sassy Vanessa. I'm trying to go through. Hi, Adriana. Hi, Eva. Hi, Tanya. Hi, Liz. Y'all are chatting so fast. Hi, Marty. Oh, thank you, Juniper. It means they reimburse you for parking.
Ah, okay.
See, yeah, I'm a country girl. Tayshu, I'm glad they're serving ads with this because they say they've demonetized us, but also I am a little taken aback by some of the ads I see. There's one wine ad that keeps popping up for me on YouTube, and it's people like all up in each other's 6 feet of personal space, hugging on one another, sharing wine. I'm like, no, I don't feel like we're at the share wine with your friends at a party part of life right now. Like, I don't think we are. Hi, Cheeky Meg. Prince works. Okay, cool. Thank you, Prince. Hi, Mel. Hi, Sharon. Hi, Ashley. So, we've got 6 minutes.
The gang's all here.
We got 6 minutes. I don't see X. Is X working again this week? Silent. I'm so glad I know the ads that we see on YouTube are meant to be, depending on your blockers and your VPN, personalized to you.
Yeah.
Because I would be like, why is there a children's ad on a BDSM live
Right.
stream? But it's okay.
I need to lose this.
You just want to show off your new haircut.
Yeah.
Your new lack of hair.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, so YouTubey things. We are wearing I Kink and I Know Things shirts designed by Ignixia. Not
Right.
Spawn, but we love to rep the stuff. The link to this specific shirt on Ignixia's Teespring shop is in the description box, along with a coupon code that Ignixia has given us. Loving DS is the coupon code, and I believe it's 15% off, but I can't seem to hold that detail in my head and have to keep checking. But it's for something off, and that's better than nothing. So that's our shirt. Mm-hmm. Our topic is kind of obvious from the title. I don't want to go into do the thumbs up, blah, blah, blah stuff. We do that at a certain point. I have a whole, so I guess I did the stuff I can do.
You have a routine, and you don't want to deviate from that path.
I am hyped up on a little bit of caffeine. I started drinking a coffee, got 3 sips in. A nice man who I let sleep in the bed with me brought me a Diet Coke bigger than my head. I drank almost all the Diet Coke, and I'm finally back to my coffee. I don't want to blame caffeine for how hyped up I am. We just spent about an hour recording the first Kinky Book Club video, and recording always gets me like, whoo, I will crash. I will crash from it later. And we have another video still to record.
Yes.
That'll be a short one, though.
I've only had 2 coffees today.
You have only had 2 coffees?
Yeah. Not that the fact that the coffee I'm currently having has been topped off, so...
Yeah, 1.5. No, yeah.
Yeah.
How does math work? How do fractions work?
It's kind of like, well, you're at a party and you only had one beer because you never actually reached the bottom of the cup.
I don't drink beer because it tastes disgusting, but sure. I mean, I get the principle. What else? Oh, if you are not into makeup, go ahead and allow your eyes and ears to glaze over now. I had a makeup mishap today. The most beautiful dark brownish shade of lipstick that I received as a freebie from e.l.f. fell apart. It was already a little broken, but I had kind of like mushed it together and could kind of still use it. No, the whole thing snapped off, and I was not gonna like go find a little plastic thing and a little dipper, and like I was like, okay, it was a freebie. I can buy another one for $4. It's fine, but I am sad. I was gonna have a whole different look today. It was gonna be a statement. And anyway. Oh, I'm sorry, Silent. When you gotta come down here to the South, where red Solo cups are used for your beer. I know that's not really a Southern thing, but we have stereotyped it.
Right.
So, oh my gosh. Yeah. I actually, and red Solo cups are just a thing, but so are blue Solo cups. They just didn't get a song. And I can't remember where it was. Whether it was the Phoenix or somewhere else, but there were cups. It was an easy way to declare which side of the slash you were on.
Yeah. That was Phoenix that did that.
Red was one, blue was another. Apparently Lola's feeling vocal. You might hear her. But yeah, blue Solo cup did not get its own song. So.
Yeah. Yeah, Lola's been a little vocal today. On and off. She's been voicing her opinion.
And Ella is not in here, but we think she might be picked up as a meow in the background of the video we recorded. I'm pretty sure Lola licking her junk might have gotten picked up in the background. I was like, that is an obnoxious level of licking going on. But I was in mid-thought, so I was saying the thought or saying what I had to say, and then the thought in the background was, and I was like, no.
Yeah. Well, Marty asked if the furry friends are getting along better.
We have an uneasy truce.
They're not getting along.
They don't hate one another.
No.
They could just... The cats don't give a fuck.
Yeah.
Ella doesn't want to be Onyx's friend. She wants to go in a room she's not allowed in.
Right.
Onyx wants everybody to go the fuck away. That's why she is my soul cat, and I don't know why she doesn't know it. But we did figure out the kitchen is neutral territory.
Yes. Yep. The kitchen has become Switzerland, and they will all gather in there at dinner time, and it is a uneasy truce, a truce. Yes.
Okay, it is straight up noon.
Okay.
We are officially here before you click the magic button. Hi.
I want to click the button.
I know. Okay, who's the baby girl and who's the daddy dom? What's happening here? It's very clear who the baby girl is, but whatever. Hi, we're live streaming our podcast, talking about going to bed. Yes, going to bed, and great with one another. If anybody's interested in the shirt, link is down in the description box. If you enjoy this video at any point, we love a thumbs up. If you have not already, and you're here willingly watching us be whatever the fuck this is, we encourage you to subscribe. If you subscribe,
hit that notification bell so you are notified when we upload new content.
Sure. And we will go into the pitch, but because it's my routine, just saying, if you want to help us do more of this, you can join us on Patreon, patreon.com/KaylaLords. Link in the description box below. But don't worry, we'll be talking about that in a minute. Okay. Hit the magic button. Oh, we have a Lola underneath our legs here. Okay, so before we get into the episode, I got announcements, because of course I do. Thank you. for clicking my link and clicking my tab and giving me my thing I need to talk about. Okay. The thing that I think this is the last week you're going to hear us harp on it because I think it's the last week of January. Time has no meaning to me. Last week for our Patreon membership drive, we want you to join Patreon at any point during the year, but we make it special in January. Anybody who is a member as of January gets a freebie in the mail. Stickers that we're making. I'm going to complain about sticker making in the bonus section if you're interested. But we're doing that. There's special custom stickers that aren't available anywhere else. There's up to 4 stickers you can receive. Depends on which tier you join. That's a cool thing. When you join Patreon, what do you get other than the our undying gratitude, quite frankly, which you do get? We have a monthly behind-the-scenes podcast. We have a monthly live stream that's question and answer where we answer questions from our patrons. We have a Discord server just for patrons, which is like so wholesome. I fucking love it over there. I lurk, but I love it. You get sneak peeks of videos. You get other perks depending on your tier. You get a discount code to the Kinkery that's good all year long, so you don't have to depend on a sale. That will be important in just a moment. And for our next goal through Patreon, we have set a thing that says that when we get to 200 consistently, like on average, averaging out to 200 kinky patrons, we will add a short podcast episode each week to our podcast upload schedule. OMG, we will commit to it. And what do we get? We get to keep doing what we're doing. And do good stuff on the internet. I think. I don't know. I'll let you decide.
Try.
For the month of January specifically, if you join as an annual member, which means you pay up front for a whole year of access, you get 2 months free. So you pay for 10 months, you get 12 months. You don't have to do that. It's just a thing they let us do, so we did it. That's the Patreon membership drive update. That the last day to join and be part of the sticker and 2-month free, whatever, is the last day of January. But you can join as a patron at any point during the year. It's fine. And then the second announcement, I would say, is super important. The Kinkery's having a sale. If you're new here, the Kinkery is John Brownstone's shop where he makes weapons of mass destruction and other peculiar oddities, as our tagline says, which is so fucking cool. Wooden, mostly, weapons of mass destruction. We have a sale going on for Valentine's Day. It is running now through February 14th, 2021. Use the code KINKYLOVE, all one word, to save 15% off your purchase. Cannot be combined with any other coupons. I mentioned before, coupon. If you are a kinky patron, you join our Patreon, we have a year-round coupon that is better than that, that you can use any time of year. So that's just an extra perk. But if you're like, no, I don't want to do that, but I wouldn't mind a paddle or a cane or an evil stick or a slapstick or a butt plug. Oh my. thekinkery.com is where it's fucking at. If I do say so myself. Thekinkery.com. The coupon code is KinkyLove, all one word. We are on top of our shipping because we know that some people will be ordering these things as kinky Valentine's gifts for themselves or others. And there might be something new coming in the next few days.
There will be.
But there will be. You should follow us on social media for that because that will be super limited. At the Kinkery on all the socials.
Yeah, it is very limited. It is specifically for the month of February for Valentine's.
Very limited though, not a lot. Not a lot. No. But if you're like, I want an eel stick. I want a cane. We got you. It's fine. So yeah, thekinkery.com, coupon code KinkyLove, save 15%. That sale runs through February 14th. Ta-da! Okay. I have no more fucking announcements. Okay. let's get into the topic. That was
Okay.
a lot of announcements.
It was.
It will get better next week because we won't be talking about the Patreon membership drive.
Mm-hmm.
We are talking about a thing that happened to us several weeks ago that when, like 2 days later, when we were both calm, in my head, I went, this has to be a topic. Thankfully, somebody is in charge around here because he said, not this week's topic.
Yes. Correct.
And made me push it back.
Right.
And that is going to bed angry.
Mm-hmm.
So it's
Oh,
so
excuse me, folks.
as with everything, these are our experiences, our thoughts. You get to have your own experiences, thoughts, and ways of handling these things and thinking about these things. But we thought we would talk about how it has gone. So it is a cliche that a lot of us have heard. Never go to bed angry, and I have learned to roll my eyes the moment some sage wisdom is never do this or always do that. But that was so in my first marriage, which was very vanilla and just bad all the way around. I went to bed angry all the time, not because I wanted to go to bed angry, but because we didn't have the communication skills in that relationship or the will to actually work through our problems and communicate about them and talk about them. So when I got out of that, I didn't make it like a hard rule for myself, but I kind of went, my bare minimum is I don't want to go to bed angry. It's not the end of the world if you go to bed angry, but I don't want to.
I don't think anybody really wants
Nobody
to.
wants to. But, if we're having a conflict, my overwhelming desire is to fucking resolve it. Even if we go to bed still kind of annoyed with one another, we have talked about it. That's what I'm striving for. And now, thankfully, you and I do not argue very often. We used to have one thing we argued about. We now have two.
Yeah.
And we got a few more years of this.
I know.
So our first thing that we consistently argue about is money. We do that a lot less now. We're really on the same page.
We are.
And I think with those arguments, it was a trust thing. You were still remembering your former marriage.
I had a lot of bad tapes regarding money.
And
yes.
we've sorted ourselves out with that. So we don't argue about that as much. Although, like most people, if money becomes tight, our stress level increases, and then we are fussier with one another.
True.
Even if we're not arguing about money. The new thing is the teenage boy, the 15-year-old child, who we have very different parenting styles with.
The 15-year-old man-child.
God, yes. And our parenting styles conflict at times. Sometimes they ride along parallel just fine. An uneasy truce, if you will. And then sometimes they're in direct opposition, and then because I think handle it this way and your life will be easier, and he's like, no. And that's where we go from there. So we don't argue about a lot, but when we argue, when it gets to the point of an argument, there are tears. There's silence. There is, I don't want to have to deal with this right now, kind of. Not for me. I don't know if y'all have met me. I want to talk about it. Let us get this shit on the table. And normally, we did. Until that one night, we did not.
Yeah.
And we went to bed angry.
We did.
And that was one of the few miserable nights I've had in our relationship where if we were earlier into our relationship, a bad tape would have taken over because it felt like what it felt like when I was in that first marriage and we went to bed angry all the time. And I was miserable a lot. And there were a lot of nights I cried myself to sleep because that's what I did.
And for me, it was kind of the same thing. I've had past relationships where that kind of thing did happen a lot. And thankfully, we are far enough into our relationship that it has not happened continuously.
Right.
And we always seem to resolve things that even though I was upset.
For the record, we checked in. Neither of us remembers what exactly it was.
Yeah. I knew that it would get resolved. But Yeah, it was a frustrating moment.
The frustration started before we went to bed because I wanted to resolve it tonight.
Yes.
Let's talk the fuck about it. Even though, in retrospect, if I'm remembering, we can't remember exactly what the argument was about, but we think we know what the topic was. Topic number 2 of the 2 aforementioned topics. And what I remember feeling was very much that if you would just fucking do it the way I tell you to, you would not be so miserable. Look, I'm not proud of myself, but I can't admit it, okay? The other thing, though, that I feel like because of my previous marriage, because of who you are, when you're upset, you close off a lot. And you go within yourself a lot. And what happens is things go unsaid. And so I'm like, I know there's something on your mind. I know you have a thought here. Just fucking say it. Put it out there.
Yeah.
And let's deal with it. But I think we also knew in the argument part, and we have talked about arguments in the past. I'll try to remember to link to that in all the places. We also knew which side of the line we were on. So looking back, if it's what I think it was about, it wouldn't have been resolved because you have your stance and I have my stance.
Right. And I think at the core of this, I know the type of person you are.
I'm sorry.
Yeah, I know.
I'm so sorry.
But I willingly I willingly chose this relationship. Got no one else to blame.
I didn't hide my crazy.
No, you didn't. You didn't. And I embraced it with open arms. But at the same time, I know myself, and this is something we had talked about kind of early on. I am an emotional person, where you are not as much an emotional person.
I'll fool you, because if you get me to talk about my emotions, you'll think I have all the emotions. But mostly I'm trying to be logical. And you are very feeling.
I am.
Yes.
Myers-Briggs
yes.
confirmed that.
Yes.
Okay. So when I get, I'm not going to say I never get angry. I do get angry.
That quiet kind of angry. That cold, quiet kind of angry. It's not pleasant.
I've got that hard cancer shell exterior.
Oh, yeah.
Okay. But I also know, and I have said this to you on several occasions, look, I am too angry. I am too wrapped up in my emotions. We need to let this calm down, and we will talk about it later when the emotions are not running so high.
And you tried to do that, but you tried to skip a step that night. You didn't want to tell me what you were angry about. So I wanted to have this conversation, and I think it's easy to say this in retrospect. I think I could have accepted it wouldn't be resolved that night, that we would still be disagreeing that night. But I was just trying to get you to tell me what you were mad about. It was not good communication on anybody's part, because here's what was happening. You were doing that classic, why don't you know? You ought to know. And I was filling in the blanks, and I think I was getting it right because you weren't contradicting me. But then I was doing that thing, which is not good communication, of projecting the fuck out of it, because I was like, you won't tell me, so you clearly don't care about resolving this with me. You don't care that this is sending me into an anxious spiral. It was, but also I might have been a little overly dramatic about that, because I like to win arguments too. I know, it's not a good look. So you were refusing to tell me exactly what it was, while also telling me that you didn't want to talk about anything, including resolving it, which that's a boundary you get to set. I want to talk about this later, but I was also like, but you haven't even admitted what's wrong, so, and also, I think you're wrong about what's wrong. Wasn't a good look. So we were back and forth, and we were doing it in, I don't know how many people out there do it this way. I do it this way because I was absolutely exposed to parents who fought loudly, and in a way that I still have to deal with. My former therapist wishes I would deal with it more. So I don't like to yell and scream where the kids can hear. I don't like to yell and scream in general. So I know lots of parents who do this where you're like telling somebody off, but you're doing it with clenched jaw and slight whispers and trying to keep your voice down, but you're also trying to convey how pissed off you are. We were also doing that. It was high stress. Why do I remember all this and can't tell you exactly what the argument's about? I think it comes back to how it, I'm going to put air quotes around this word, got resolved.
Yeah.
Because it didn't actually get resolved. We'll get there. So it was, and I know that part of the reason why I'm like, tell me what's wrong. I can respect if you want to talk about the issue tomorrow, but tell me what's wrong and let's at least work through the hard feelings tonight. It's because I wouldn't call it a bad tape. Like, I'm not treating you like my ex in this moment, but what I am trying to do, and this is an anxious thing, I'm trying to prevent the thing I fear the most, which what I fear the most is this relationship falling apart because there's resentment buildup, we're not communicating, and we're at cross purposes all the time. Like, we're just not seeing eye to eye on anything anymore. And I know that there are a lot of reasons that happened in my first marriage, but one of those reasons was because we did not resolve issues. We yelled at one another, went to bed, pissed off at one another, and then never talked about it again. And that then led to 2 weeks later, we're upset with one another again. And now I'm remembering the thing I was upset about 2 weeks ago that never got resolved. And that just...
Because it came back around and it just snowballed.
And so 10 years into that relationship, I was holding on to 10 years worth of grievances that had never been resolved because we kept not working through things before bed or in daylight. It didn't matter. And that was the thing I was fighting against. Like, I don't want to have this happen now. Rationally, 2 months after the fact, I can tell you that in general, that fear I have is anxiety and is a little bit irrational because there's nothing about our relationship that would indicate that would happen. But an anxious mind can say to oneself, yes, but this could be the start. And if you don't stop it here, what happens next time? Well, 2 months later, I can tell you that was my anxious mind being anxious. That was anxiety taking over and not looking at the reality of our relationship. It was, in a way, kind of a bad tape. I wasn't treating the situation as if you were him, but I was trying to prevent a thing that had happened. And so I was pushing this issue before bed, wanting to get it resolved, not doing my best at communicating. I don't fight dirty with you.
No, you don't.
I purposely don't fight dirty with anybody because I have lived a life where somebody said a thing they could not take back. And I get to walk around life with that in my head forever. And so I won't do that to anybody. Man, I understand the urge, though. I get it. If you have found yourself in that situation, I understand why. I know I could say a thing that would cut you to your fucking knees. It's a choice I have to make. And I have to hold myself back. So the argument is escalating because we are truly not communicating about the same thing at all. You're saying, I'm angry with you. You ought to know why. We will talk about it tomorrow. And the thing that annoyed me was positioning yourself as the rational one while I'm blowing the fuck up because not only are we not talking about the issue, you haven't admitted the issue.
Right.
I'm just supposed to know, and I'm battling this fear, even though the fear was irrational. So we go to bed, and there's slamming, and there's silence, and I don't like that silence. I remember it from childhood. I remember it from previous marriage. That silence sucks. And if you've been in those relationships, you know that silence when you're mad and you want to say shit and you're not saying shit because for me it was, what was the point? I didn't want to make it worse. For part of it, my submission kicks in. You've said don't do this thing, and my overarching need is to do what you said to
Not
do.
to do. Yeah.
And so it's like he wants me to be quiet, and I want to be a good submissive, but I'm fucking pissed off as hell. And this is where, it's why the conversations we have about disagreements and arguments is so interesting to me. It's not interesting in a good way. It's fascinating in a Spock-like way. is because as a submissive, in my own perspective as a submissive, who wants to submit to you every chance I can, even though sometimes it doesn't look like it, that's a moment where I'm fighting against other base instincts. My instinct to keep going, to say what I need to say, to get it resolved, to say the thing that will make you hurt as much as I hurt, like whatever that instinct is. Like I said, I stopped myself from that last one, but the urge is there. And the reason I could do it that time, one, I fucking hate conflict. Two, we do have that trust between us, that even though my anxious mind was like, but this could be the start of a down, everything going downhill, my rational mind kicked in enough to go, yeah, but that hasn't happened. And you can talk about this tomorrow. And every time you've ever said, we will talk about this later,
right,
we talked about it later.
Yeah.
So I had that basis. So I could stop talking. I could do what you asked me to do.
Right.
And still be super mad about it.
Well, because I have never said to you, we will get back to this later, we will talk about it later, and I've never used that as an excuse to brush it under the rug.
Yeah. Yeah, and you've never gaslit me the next day, or, oh, I don't know what you're talking about, or it wasn't that bad, or I didn't say, like, none of the things that I think we could rationally be fearful of, and let's keep this going, never. And if it did happen, that'd be a whole different conversation now.
Right.
But, so then the hard part was, because we didn't resolve anything, and this is where I think it can be very, when I say interesting, I mean it in a Spock way, very interesting for long-term power exchange couples who live together, sleep together, have nighttime routines. Going to bed angry meant we were in every step of the way until we fell asleep, navigating, are we doing our routine tonight? Are we doing our routine tonight? Because we're angry with one another.
Yeah.
We are upset. I was sad. I don't know what your emotional state was. And let's start there. This is the point where we're like navigating that. How were you feeling in that moment? I had finally stopped talking. We're going to bed. Where's your head at?
Yeah. I was in a very similar place with the routine that we normally have being kind of out of whack. Things did not feel right. I did not like the way things were left between us. Okay, because you were, which I think I was very frustrated. Because normally in the past, when I have said we will talk about this later, you accepted it, okay, and you kind of backed away and gave me my space. The way this happened, you didn't, and you kept wanting to come at it, which made me feel even more wound up.
Sure. Was it because there was the argument part of it, but was it because I don't want to say I wasn't respecting your dominance, but essentially in a way, from a power exchange view, I was not respecting that order or command.
Absolutely.
Yeah, and I'll tell you why. Next time, just tell me what the fuck we're arguing about. Confirm it for me, please. Because that was that uncertainty.
We're arguing about a 15-year-old man-child. Isn't that enough? See?
But what did he do this time? But you know what? And I don't know that this is true for other people, but the more uncertainty I feel about what the issue is, the more uncertainty I feel about what I need to do next to get that certainty back. I need to know what we're arguing about. I need to be clear on that. We don't have to resolve it. And I think that's that might be an important thing to just know. It's like the argument's not always going to get resolved before you go to bed, but can we be on the same playing field about it? Can we be on the same page about what it is we're talking about? Because you know what? Give me the night to know what we're arguing about. I'll formulate 85 articles with appendices and sub-appendices and, don't worry. Because at that point, I've got time to think.
Yeah, you will. Yeah,
so there we are in the bedroom, going to bed angry. And our entire nighttime routine is built around, not just routines that we do, but like our power exchange. Mm-hmm. So there are certain things you do. There are certain things I do.
Right.
You take off my collar.
Mm-hmm.
And we had to like not huff and through it, I bend over the bed for a spanking, and I did because you didn't tell me not to, but it wasn't. It was in no way the same. Of course, it wasn't the same. We were both mad at one another.
The whole thing was very performative.
That's a perfect word. It was. We were literally going through the motions.
Yeah.
We were just doing the thing because we say we do the thing, not because we cared about doing the thing or wanted to do the thing.
Yeah. I mean, every other time, there's something behind it when we do it. Mm-hmm. Whether it's a seriousness of the act that we're doing, or there's a joviality behind it, or whatever it is for that night. It was performative. It was going through the motions.
And so then the feeling of it wasn't there. Normally I feel very connected and close. Even when I'm like, God, I just want to get in the bed and get on the covers. It's like, this is still this moment of connection. And there was a disconnect.
Yes.
I did not like that part either. Then we get into bed. And normally we joke or we cuddle, or now these days we read and whatever. I think you did part of your routine. Part of our routine is, what's that app you use on your phone for the weather? The WT...
What the weather?
What the weather or whatever.
Yeah.
And it's always some snarky thing. So that's the fun. He tells me the snarky thing the app is saying, and then he tells me what the weather will be tomorrow, because I am that person who's like, is it going to be cold tomorrow? Is it going to be warm tomorrow? What's it going to be tomorrow? Only when we're in these kinds of Florida seasons where it's spring when you wake up and it's winter when you go to bed. Like that's it. But I think you did that, but it wasn't with the same laughs. It wasn't with the same whatever. And then we rolled over. Like, I rolled over and was on my phone. You rolled over and you were reading your book. Mm-hmm. And we just didn't speak.
No.
And because we have an established routine, we technically didn't have to. So the final thing before the lights go out and we go to sleep is you slide down the bed, and the thing that you were sitting propped up on to read, I pull out and I throw down on the floor. So it's out of the way. It's just one last step. That's the step that it's time to go to sleep. You turn on the Calm app that we use to listen to a sleep story.
Right.
That's how we go to sleep. And you turn off the lamp. And ta-da, it's time for bed. And you did all of that. But there was no talking. There was no joking.
No.
We kept a physical distance between us that I did not like.
No. And that I did not like either, because I'm a very touchy person to begin with.
Yes. And the angrier I am at somebody, get the fuck away from me.
You had that.
Don't like it. And yet, what I wanted you to do more than anything was to be like, no, this is still a normal night, because we fought. Okay, I don't know if you noticed, we're very routine oriented around here. So after the sleep story comes on, the pillow gets put on the floor, and the lamp goes out. We spoon where I am little spoon, and we lay that way while we listen to a story, usually until my back or neck start to bother me, because then I need to roll over. And that's the signal. Me rolling over is a signal for him to roll over the other way, put his cold butt on me, because I run at a higher temperature. And then that's usually like the last thing I remember when we fall asleep. But it is a moment of deep connection, especially in the spooning position, because it's like our bodies pressed against bodies. And you could have reached for me and pulled me in if you had wanted to. And while nothing would have been resolved, I'd have been like, I would have been cold at first. I know I would have been distant at first. I'd have been stiff. And then I would have been like, okay. Because what got me upset that night, and I started crying, and I did that cry thing where I don't want you to know I'm crying. So I'm like, I'm letting the tears fall, and I desperately got to do that snort sniffle thing, but I don't want to because then he's going to know I'm crying, and then I didn't know how you were going to react. I had bad tapes from that, accusations of crying for attention or whatever, and I was like, fuck it. He doesn't get to know I'm crying. I'm already kind of mad at myself for crying. What the fuck? And I would have, but that was an emotional distance. There was the physical distance. I think you could have closed the physical distance, and it would have taken me a moment, but I would have leaned into the emotional part. But instead, it was probably 2 inches. It's only a queen size bed. We are not small people. There's a couple inches of space between us. We rolled in tandem, but we never touched.
Right.
I think we woke up curled up with one another, but falling asleep again. And I did that, lay on the corner of the bed, cry, but try to pretend you're not crying when it's so fucking obvious you're crying. And I fell asleep. And I don't know when you fell asleep. We never talked about that night again. You know that, right? Here's the thing. We're getting into the story. We have, until today, not spoken about that night. Now, how did you feel when you went to sleep? Or did you just put your damn head on the pillow and just, like, freaking sack and just out? You were, weren't you? Weren't you? Do you think?
Yeah, I did. And part of the reason for that, I was emotionally drained.
Yeah. So you didn't even hear me crying. Oh, God. I'm so glad I didn't try to make it a production. That would have been even more pitiful. He'll hear my tears and he'll take pity on me. No, he wouldn't have. That would have been bad. But also, I'm like, why the fuck did I, hold that back? Why did I hide that? I wouldn't hide the good emotions from you, and I certainly don't hide the angry emotions.
No, you don't.
It's weird the things we do.
Yeah.
So you were just out. Now, we woke up the next day, and here's the thing. The nights we've resolved an issue, and when I say resolved, I do not mean kumbaya'd the fuck out of it. I mean, talked it through, said what we had to say, either come to a compromise or seen the other's perspective, or just gone, you know what, we have to agree to disagree. This thing happened. If one of us was wrong, we apologize. We're open to all of that. We do all of that. But resolution doesn't mean I'm not so mad or you're not so mad, but we've talked it through.
Yeah.
And so waking up the next day from that is easy. It's like, okay, I'm less angry now, or you're less angry, or, oh, I can laugh about this now, or, oh, that thing you said yesterday, I see your point, I've been thinking about this, and the conversation might carry on, or whatever. Going to bed angry and not resolving shit, that was a weird wake up the next day.
It was.
I felt like I was, the expression I've always heard used is on tenterhooks, like just, I don't remember what tenterhooks are, I just know the expression. But basically, the other expression is tiptoeing around. I felt very, unsure and on edge and off balance. And I also had an emotional hangover. How did you feel when you woke up?
In all honesty, at this point, I do not remember.
I remember, so I did a thing. I went back to my own childhood traumas. We're not getting into those. That's why I did not put a content warning on this. But I'm going to just say that they exist. I did the thing I used to do as a kid, which is I waited to see how you were. I was emotionally raw. Crying yourself to sleep does that. This is not me looking for pity. If you've ever cried yourself to sleep, you might have had the same experience. I was very emotionally raw. I was very uncertain. I didn't know, are we still arguing? I was more clear-headed. If I could make the case for, okay, just let your ass go to bed angry, the one thing that I know happened was I was more clear-headed about what we were fussing about. And it didn't feel like it mattered so much. I had distance from it.
Yeah.
It wasn't the thing I feared, which was carrying over an unresolved resentment, but just well, of course he sees whatever that was that way, and I'm never going to change him, and whatever, it's fine. Teenagers going to teenage. We got several more years of this. Let's just buckle in. But what I was waiting for was to see how you behaved. So, when I came out of the bedroom, so the first thing in the morning, we have routines. And those evening routines had been so performative, I was like, okay, what happens at these morning ones? So I just went, I'm going to do what I'm supposed to do. Because the way I think about that, even when we're upset with one another, is I don't want to add a thing for you to legitimately be upset with me about. I want, if there's a way I can come out right, or just not wrong, then I'm going to do what I'm supposed to do. And that a little bit is, you know, I am submissive and I want to be submissive. And I think that I would know there was something seriously wrong if I didn't have that urge. Like if I was like, fuck it, I'm not doing anything that I've said I would do. That's a rift that is much deeper than we just disagreed at 10 o'clock at night. So I started going through those motions again of doing the morning routine, getting the coffee ready, having my collar put on, blah, blah, blah. But the whole time I was watching you and I was waiting. And if you had stayed cold and angry, which is what I grew up with, I would have known, oh, this isn't over. And I don't know what I would have done.
Yeah.
Thankfully, what I remember is you seemed to be sort of tiptoeing around me too. Like you weren't sure how I was going to be. And then one of us said something, couldn't tell you what now, and we both laughed. And we were still very tender with one another. And when I say tender, I don't mean tender like loving. I mean like very, like...
Yeah, like...
I'm not coming up with good words, and the podcast listeners can't see what I'm doing on here. We were...
Like there were might be some sore spots.
Yeah. We were gentle with one another, and we were very touchy with one another. Like, I'm going to say this thing, what's the reaction? I'm going to do this thing, what's the reaction? Right. And we weren't certain of each other. We were kind of
dipping the toe in the water, so to speak.
Yes.
Yeah.
And we were fine after that. I think the next day I felt normal again.
Yeah.
And here's the thing that I don't know that I have wisdom about. I just know that this is what happened. The one thing that never happened in this whole situation, we've never talked about that argument. It never got resolved. The first time it got mentioned after that night was when we were doing a planning session for episodes at New Year. And it had happened sometime in December.
Yeah.
Like early December, I think. And I said, I think we need to talk about the idea of going to bed angry and what we think about it. And you went, oh, no, not right now.
I did.
Oh, yeah, I guess we can. Actually, I said it earlier than that. I said it about 2 days after the argument. And you were like, not this week.
Yeah.
No, not this week. And then when I brought it up again, you were like, yeah, but maybe not the first one in 2021. And I'm like, okay. But yeah, the thing I feared, one of the things I feared of it never getting resolved is we never did talk about it again.
We have had arguments before. We have fought about things before. That particular night, when I look back on it, it was, you know, there's like a hierarchy of finest moments.
Yeah, or your not so finest moments.
Yeah. That one took the cake.
Mm-hmm. It was not a good look for either of us. I was very combative.
Yeah.
I know why I was combative, and I can. If I want to be, quote, put air quotes around this word, right? I can justify it and make myself look like, oh, of course, that makes total sense. That doesn't mean it was right. Being combative did not get me what I wanted. Being combative did not get you to talk to me more. The more I lashed out, and I know where it came from, I know why I did it.
Yeah.
But you just shut down more. The more I went, just fucking tell me. Or when I was having to suppose what we were arguing about, I was like, well, that's ridiculous. Not a good thing to say. Please do not invalidate your partner's feelings by calling them ridiculous. They can be ridiculous to you. That does not mean they're ridiculous to them. But, you know, it, like with any argument, it's never your best. You don't bring your best self to an argument like that, okay? I mean, we're not talking about arguing a case in court where you're supposed to bring your best self. We're talking about heat of the moment, passions up, tempers flaring, misunderstanding, bad tapes, whatever's going on in our own head, like all of those things. But it's funny to me so I'm on the fence about this situation. I saw that the next day waking up, I could have had the conversation about what happened without getting angry. I had enough distance between the issue and the emotions of the issue that we could have talked about it. And so I can see the point of letting yourself go to bed angry and, just deal with it the next day. Assuming you're going to deal with it. And this is my biggest issue with that kind of thing, of letting yourself go to bed angry, is that I think more of us than we would like to admit will tell ourselves we will resolve it later, but it's really easy to push something back. Now, in our specific situation, in this moment, it was something that, yes, we will continue to argue about because teenagers, they exist. And the youngest is not there yet, so we have several more years. Right. But also, it's not cropped back up. There's not been anything that's a repeatable behavior that can build resentment towards each other. We also thankfully have not had another argument since then about parenting in order for it to bring up any similar feelings that we could then throw back at each other. And that could go both ways. Like, I will happily admit, because I can now, the problems I have when I'm arguing. I know what I do. I know where I fuck up. But it doesn't mean I'm the only one doing it. Like, we have our own issues.
Right.
Nobody is a perfect arguer. But, that would be the thing I would caution against, is if you were constantly saying, we will deal with it tomorrow, I'll just be miserable tonight, and then you never deal with it tomorrow, that to me signals a deeper problem. If you asked me which would I prefer, I would, even if we're yelling and screaming and we don't go to bed till 1 o'clock in the morning, I would rather hash it out that night and find a truce between each other before going to bed. Because the worst part of that was not the arguing. I hate arguing with you. I hate arguing in general. That was not the worst part of it. The worst part of it was laying there in bed with you and feeling like there was a massive distance between us. Because we are so, especially in bed at night, it's our one time. We are so physically and emotionally connected at that point. To have that severed and then try to go to sleep. Just... No, I wouldn't. I would not purposely make that the way we do things.
No, and I think the worst part about it, I mean, we have had moments throughout our relationship where we've had disconnects.
Sure.
It happens.
It'll happen again.
Right. But I think with those disconnects, we recognized them for what they were, and we brought them back together.
Yeah.
In this instance,
we did not.
We did not.
And it's funny because thinking about where we were at that point in the year, what 2020 has been like for all of us. There, in every argument, there's always more at play than the issue you're arguing with. There's your past. There's the stuff going on around you in your personal life, your professional life. Like, there's always other things involved in an argument with anybody, but especially a partner. And I have found that I tend to make things worse, not just in arguments, in many other facets of life, when I'm trying to mitigate all the things I fear could happen. So getting you to talk to me more because I don't want us to be people who don't talk about our problems and just go to bed angry all the time only made you angrier and want to talk less. Not wanting, I don't know, did I consider it some kind of weakness? I do not think tears are a weakness, by the way, but I know how I know how I feel for everybody else, and then I know how I feel for myself as an individual. And there's a double standard there. I'm a lot meaner to myself. So now I'm like, I didn't want you to hear me crying. You wouldn't have anyway. You were asleep. Like, why did I hold that back? Why did I hide those emotions when those were real emotions? I know why. This is not the episode for that. I know why I did that, but knowing what I know now, that could have been, had you heard me, that could have been a point of reconnection. Because you are not the type to watch me cry or hear me cry and not be affected by it. For the record, in mid-argument, I can tell when he's affected and annoyed with himself for being affected by my tears. Because he has a total tell, and I never respond to it well. Because that is a bad tape. I respond to it based on the way others have responded to my tears, which is why I don't like anybody to see me cry. Thank you very much. I'm like, not even the man of my dreams soulmate we're going to go out like Thelma and Louise together. He doesn't even get to see me cry. And that is a problem that I should speak to a therapist about. But those things inform the moment we're in. So, on going to bed angry, should you, shouldn't you? I can't answer that for you. I can't answer that for us because every situation is going to be different. Here's what I would say. I'll say it again. I said it a few minutes ago. My preference is we fucking resolve shit before we go to sleep. We don't have to be happy with one another. We don't have to be at a place of total forgiveness and we've like sorted out every little issue and we made it. But talk through the problem, understand where each other stands, speak our piece. That, my preference is going to be, I want that. Because I don't like how the alternative feels at all. Right.
And Tayshu brought up a good point about this with timing. Mm-hmm. You know, there's a point where it's too soon and everybody is not in a calm enough place to talk about it rationally. And then you let it
go too long.
Right. And it becomes one of the difficult conversations.
It either becomes a difficult thing or, and this is how I know I am. There's too much going on. I will shove it to the back of my mind. I will tell myself I have forgotten it. Oh, it clearly didn't matter. Or back in my first marriage, I would just kind of like be annoyed and go, it doesn't matter. It doesn't matter. And I tell myself that until I believe it. And then the new thing would come up. And then I would be reminded of how much it really did matter because it's there in my arsenal to throw at somebody. Like, wait, but what about this moment? And so I think there's a little bit of, you can also lie to yourself and say, oh, it's been so long now, it doesn't matter, when it absolutely fucking matters. Because it always matters on some level. Even I know, because we know that parenting the teenager is going to be an ongoing source of conflict for us, even if it's just mild conflict, because our parenting styles are so different. I know that I might one day remember that argument because we will be arguing about it again. What I'm hoping is that I don't have that urge to bring us back to this point.
Yeah.
And so, yeah, in a perfect world, if I could get what I want, if I could get what I wanted, we wouldn't argue at all. We don't live in that world. In the second perfect world, I would like us to at least discuss whatever the fuck it is we're mad about before we go to bed.
Yeah.
Realistically, I know that's not the guarantee every time. But my preference is I don't want to go to bed angry if I can help it. I know that there are some people who are like, hell yeah, let me go to bed angry because, like you, I need time to calm down. We can talk about this tomorrow. If you are that type, the only thing I would say is, okay, but actually talk about it. Maybe not the next day, but talk about it. Don't do what many of us do, which is just go, oh, I'm going to pretend I'm over it now. And never resolve the issues, especially if they're recurring issues. They can be recurring issues and both partners be great human beings, just maybe not great together, or have a thing that they need to work on individually or as a couple to avoid that. I mean, having unresolved issues between you where you get upset with one another and then that pattern repeats itself and you're constantly upset or you're feeling resentful or whatever doesn't automatically mean everything's broken. It means there's some work to be done somewhere. And I'm trying to do what anxious people in many places do, is avoid ever having the problem. If I can fix the problem before it ever is a problem, before it even has time to look like it could be in the future a problem, then I'm a happier person, except I'm not a happier person because I'm walking around like a basket case and I'm causing problems by trying to prevent problems that haven't happened yet. That is what it's like to be anxious. If you wondered, I know, are you tired yet? So, yeah, the going to bed angry thing, we've done it both ways. I know my preference. What's your preference? Or do you just not have a preference? It doesn't matter to you, whatever.
Yeah, I have a preference.
Okay, what's your preference?
I would prefer not to go to bed angry.
You know, I really do think most people would say, I don't want to go to bed angry. Duh. What I mean is if there's going to be if there's going to be an argument, do we work on some of it before bed, or do we skip all of that and just wait till the next day? I want to at least work on a little bit of it.
Yeah.
I mean, next time, pro tip, just tell me what the fuck you're actually angry at. Name the problem. And you know what? I wondered in retrospect, was it that you were like, I'm going to say it and she's going to get angry because she's going to tell me it's not a fucking problem? And there was a chance that would have been my reaction. Because, our parenting styles are very different. We should probably do an episode on parenting styles and kink. Because it butts up against our power exchange all the time. The submissive side of me is like, I want to defer to you. The mom is like, in me is like, but I fucking know what I'm going to do as a parent. And it's a conflict. We might talk about that one day. So
Yeah.
I think that's all I care to say
Yeah.
about the topic. Is there anything you would like to say that you didn't get a chance to say you were thinking about?
I don't think so.
Well, there we go then.
Yeah.
Okay. I would love to hear from anybody else. I know in the live stream chat, folks have been talking about it. If you watch the video later, there's a comment section. If you listen on the podcast, socials, DMs, email, like how do you handle it? How do you look at it? What works best for you? And when I say works best, like it helps you have healthy relationships. If you keep building resentment and the relationship keeps like falling apart and crumbling, maybe some strategies aren't working. But if you're happy in your relationship, like, yeah, what do you do? How do you handle it? That I would be curious to know. So, okay.
All right.
We're going to do a bonus section.
Yeah.
Okay.
All right.
Okay.
Are we good?
I don't know.
All right.
Keep it kinky, y'all. And we'll see you next week. Daddy. 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 Daddy, 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 daddy. That could have been ASMR till I screamed into the microphone to laugh. Yeah, sorry, y'all.
Yes,
Daddy.
baby girl.
Can I always talk to the crickets?
Go ahead.
Okay. An emoji of the week. I did not think about this before, and I actually have multiple ideas. But we're gonna go with, I know there is a snoozy emoji, like the little face, and there's like the Z's coming up off of it. That would be probably the one I think all of us have access to. But if you have another sleeping emoji you like, but we're gonna sleep on it. So, yeah. That I have a yucky in my throat and I want to cough, but not into the microphone. So I coughed at you. It's fine. The snoozy sleepy face emoji will be our emoji of the week. Reminder: the Kinkery is having a sale. Use code KinkyLove. Patreon membership drive. Patreon.com/GetTheLords. And now we're in the bonus section. Pet update.
Pet update.
Pet update. Well, pet update's easy. Lola does not have to be bathed every 3 days again and is not on 3 medications. We only have to bathe her every 1 to 2 weeks. And she takes an anti-inflammatory for like leg pain from where one leg is shorter than the other from surgery she had before we got her. Yeah. So life has become way easier with her. She is a little confused about why she's not getting so many pill pockets anymore. Right.
Well, hopefully she loses a few pounds now between not getting baths every 3 days and have to be bribed with treats and so hopefully she drops a couple pounds.
Yeah, she's supposed to be right at 60 pounds. 50, anywhere from 59 to about 61, 62. The vet's happy, and she's up to 62. So it's not like she's a chonker or anything.
No, she's not.
But with her, we're trying to be careful of her joint issues too.
Right.
So her front paw, she was shot before we had her. She had surgery on it. The surgery to do whatever.
They basically had to do some reconstructive surgery on her leg.
That leg is actually now shorter than her other 3. So there will, for the rest of her life, be some level of strain on those joints. Right. So she's on some joint chews to keep that all well lubricated, and she gets an anti-inflammatory whenever it seems that she needs it. So also, as the vet pointed out, we don't want her to get overweight at any point because that's just that much more stress on that leg. So, and we did really good with Saki without even trying. He was supposed to be 10 pounds and buddy, he was 10 pounds. Yep. And we didn't know what the fuck we were doing. And he didn't even care about treats that much.
No, Saki was not food motivated either. Okay, food was the last thing on his mind.
Yeah, he didn't even trust treats he didn't recognize.
Right. I mean, for him, it was having a comfortable place to lay and,
take him out for a walk.
Take him out for his walk so he could investigate. Lola is very food motivated.
She has tried to eat some sketchy things off the side of the road when we go for our walks.
I have, her food motivation. I have been doing some research on the Amstaff behaviors.
American Staffordshire. If you're like, what the fuck is Amstaff?
Okay.
You said Amstaff to me yesterday, I think, and my brain had to translate. Like, what the fuck? He's gone down a rabbit hole, y'all.
Well, I'm trying to understand her.
You are so in love with her.
Well, I am at that. Kayla made the point that she's my soul dog.
Oh, yeah. Oh, yeah. Oh, yeah. They're fur baby, fur parent soulmates. For sure. Oh, and the cat, too. So you get both species. Isn't that nice? What the fuck do I have?
Hey, Onyx curled up next to you last night.
That's true. And then I moved into, oh, fuck this shit.
Yeah. But no, I'm just trying to understand, her a little better. And I know at a certain point I'll never be able to because, don't know what she went through before us. But, she is true to the breed where she gets her stubborn moments.
I can't walk her by myself because if she decides she's not moving or she's going in a direction, by myself, I am not capable of stopping her.
So, like last night, this is the second night in a row we were sitting in the living room. Kayla was stitching. I was watching TV, and I got up to go to the bathroom and come back, and Lola had taken over my seat. And I got her to move the night before. Last night, she would not move. And one thing I have heard about this breed, you cannot back down from them. If you back down, that gives them the they want that alpha. Last night, in order to get her out of that, she would not listen to any commands. I even, grabbed her head, lifted it up, tried to get her to move. She would not move. I actually had to pick her up and move her over.
We're going to need to start working out.
Yeah. And she sat there for a minute, gave me side eye, and then moved over to the other couch on the other.
She came to sit by me.
Yeah, she came to sit by her. She was not happy with me, but
no, she ignored you for the rest of the night.
She did.
It's the only way I can get some affection around here.
Yeah.
I'm teasing. She loves me. She just loves you.
Yeah. So, they're all doing well. Onyx is doing good. We have our little playtime at night.
She's very loving first thing in the morning and then again at night.
In the morning she is so affectionate.
She won't let us pick her up. I would love to cuddle her, but she's like, no, leave me the fuck alone. But yeah, she follows us at least around the bedroom. This morning I got her to follow me out of the bedroom into the kitchen and living room. But then she saw Lola and went, fuck this shit, I'm going back to the bedroom. Ella is pushy as fuck. She does not care about being Onyx's friend. She just wants to get into the bedroom she's not allowed to be in. She also has that cat meow thing of acting like she's clearly starving to death because she had to wait 5 extra minutes for her meal. I know that's all typical. It's funny, though, to contrast her with Onyx. Onyx meows so infrequently these days. We used to tease and call her a Karen because of her meow. But these days she's meowing so infrequently. When she does, it sounds really rusty and kind of deep. Whereas
it sounds like an old lady meow.
It does sound like an old lady meow. And Ella's like that. She's not quite at Karen level, but she's close. She's very insistent. But Ella is the cat that will get under your feet. We've both nearly tripped over her a few times.
Yeah.
So, but everybody's fine. I've got to take Ella to the vet on Thursday, Friday.
Tomorrow's Thursday.
I don't know a day this week. She's got to get her second feline leukemia booster shot. But we have to remember to sedate her because she does not like needles. So that's going on. But otherwise, everybody's great. Everybody's fine. We are just trying to figure out the chaos, and we would love everybody to love everybody, but we're not there yet.
Yeah.
So that's it for them, right?
Mm-hmm. Pretty much.
Okay. I practiced stitching on my new sewing machine this past weekend.
You did.
And didn't break it. Threaded the fucking thing. Went into so I placed an order for a bunch of quilting supplies from an online store that I love. I love their YouTube channel. I just like their site. It's called Fat Quarter Shop. But they are way behind on shipping because they're always super busy and COVID. So that order has not processed or shipped yet. So, but they had all of my supplies. So I was like, shit, I need to go get some thread. I didn't think the machine would arrive as fast as it did. I ordered it on one day and 3 days later it was at the house. I didn't expect that. So I thought, okay, it'll take a while for the sewing machine to arrive, and then it'll take a while for the supplies to arrive, and it's fine. Well, no, it has not worked out that way. So we went to our local quilt shop where they don't just tell you to wear a mask. I watched the person working the shop tell a lady in the quilt shop, your mask goes over your nose, ma'am. I was like, okay, I've come home. I like it here. And I went in for $3 thread. That's all I needed. I just wanted to thread the machine. I have some fabric I could practice on. It's fine. I walked out with enough cloth for a quilt top, probably like a small quilt, not a really big one. I'm not going to sew it yet. I want to know how to use the machine before I use the pretty fabric I purchased. But the $3 purchase became a $43 purchase, $40 more. And I was like, okay, yeah, I'm a crafter now. Thanks. But I practiced using my machine, and I can technically stitch a straight line, but there's a lot of other parts to that I'm not good at. I'm still waiting on my supplies. I've got a little bit of fabric that should be arriving on Friday that is not meant to be like a quilt, but I'm gonna practice on. So I'm doing that, and then I got back into my cross stitch, and in 3 days I've stitched every single night for 3 or 4 nights.
You have.
And that's been really nice. That's kind of like my way to zen out. We've all heard about meditation, and I had not managed to do the meditation where somebody says, stop thinking or let your mind, whatever, like the mental meditation. But I've heard about doing physical activity as meditation. And I was like, yeah, stitching is like that because it's all I'm doing is focusing on making X's, and if I don't have to count too much, it's really zen. So it's been really relaxing. So I'm living my best grandma life as a cross stitcher and a wannabe quilter. So that's been really fulfilling. It's meant staying the fuck off social media because that's the only way you have time to do shit like this. What have you got going on?
Oh gosh, I have been pretty much full on out in the shop lately.
Yeah, you have.
I was busy before the holidays, and I was actually kind of thinking, I'll get a little bit of a break after the holidays. No.
We love not having a break, though.
I mean, it's been nice. I have been enjoying doing the stuff that I've been doing. Especially with the tools that I have now that I can actually do a lot of the things I want to. But it has just been nonstop. And I'm kind of okay with that. I've been enjoying what I've been doing. There's been some stuff going on which I'll talk a little bit more about in the bonus podcast because we have that coming up. We're getting to the end of the month.
We do that for over on Patreon. Yeah.
Yep.
Oh yeah, we gotta do that too.
And I've just been doing some stuff around the house. I went out and bought a pitchfork last night.
It was like, who are we going after? Who are we mad at?
Yeah, right. Right. When's the mob?
I'll get my torch.
That beautiful laurel oak in our front yard that gives us such amazing shade in the heat of summer has been dropping leaves since the end of November.
Oh my God, y'all, the leaves, the leaves, the leaves.
And I've gone over a few times with the lawnmower to mulch what I can, but there's more than even the mower can handle. So I've been raking piles underneath the tree, and got a pretty big size leaf pile there, and need to start getting them up for the trash. Yeah.
I mean, that's a great workout to bag leaves, but man, it sucks.
So didn't have anything that I could really pick them up with, so went and bought a pitchfork last night.
That was funny. You're like, I'm going to Lowe's. Okay, what are you getting? A pitchfork.
Yeah.
Who were we mad at? I mean, I'm a ride or die bitch, so if you're mad at somebody, okay, I'm mad at them too.
Right.
But why do we need a pitchfork? Yeah, we actually have. So I'm going to say we're in the process of unpacking the last box in the bedroom from the move. And it was because we needed a place to put it. So we have a lamp that goes in the bedroom that you needed a hook for because it hangs from the ceiling. And then I had all my stuffies. And I was like, but where am I going to put them? And they're going to live in the office on a shelf because my corner of the office is very baby girl-esque. Like, I'm a professional and I'm a baby girl because you can be more than one thing. It's called being human. And so I needed more color in my corner of the office. Let's just be frank.
Yeah.
And as much as I love the few stuffies I have, they don't go with the aesthetic that we've created in the bedroom. So it's like, we'll bring them into the office.
Yeah.
So that box, we had a reason not to unpack it for the past couple of months because Onyx likes to sleep on top of that box. So
right.
I have a feeling we're just going to have to get yet another cat tree.
Well, no, actually what I have an idea for, because it is in the corner of the room and that corner is unused, my intention is to build cat shelves up the wall.
Right.
And I'm going to alternate, because it's in the corner, I'm going to alternate every corner a shelf so she can climb.
Bryn commented in the live stream about
I have a leaf blower.
He has a leaf blower.
I have one. Yep.
He uses it daily.
And I use it every day to dig out the driveway.
Yeah. Our cars are parked in our driveway under that tree, and every day right now it looks like we haven't moved our car in a month.
Yeah.
Every single day.
Yeah. And Ms. Spog, you mentioned about just leaving the leaves. In many cases, that would be a thing. Yeah, the leaves would just disintegrate and become fertilizer in the soil. Unfortunately, the problem with oak trees, especially the oak trees we have here, they are extremely tannic and they change the acidity of the soil so that basically very little to nothing would grow there with the leaves, especially with the amount of leaves that come down.
So when you say things like this, because I know it comes from a place of knowledge, and I love it, I'm curious, does that knowledge come from the years growing up helping your dad in his nursery, the business his dad wanted him to take over, and you went, no? Or does that come from the years of running a lawn business and doing landscaping?
A combination of both.
Ah, see? Knowledge.
Combination of both.
I don't have knowledge like that.
Yeah. Yeah. So,
yeah, the one thing we do have a lot of, except we didn't have a pitchfork until recently, was a lot of lawn tools. Next on you have two dream items for the house. One is a pressure washer, like a good one. We have a teeny tiny little one.
I have a small electric one, and it does in a pinch, but the size driveway and the house will need to be pressure washed at some point. It won't cut it. I'll be at it for months.
And a riding lawnmower.
Yeah.
Those are the two wish list items.
A riding mower is definitely on my wish list. The mower I have is a self-propelled mower. I just walk behind it. But my knees are not in that great shape anymore.
And both boys are indoor cats, so.
Yeah, even the promise of paying them handsomely will not get them out to mow the lawn.
And I already hear some old school kind of parents who are like, just make them. That's not worth it to us. It's not worth it.
No.
Sometimes I feel really guilty as a parent that I don't make them do more things, like, because I can hear my parents in my head. If it wouldn't have been a choice, my ass would have been out there doing whatever. But it's like, how much of it is worth the fight?
Yeah.
It's not okay.
No. So, and I actually do enjoy, doing the yard. But, when I am done walking the yard, it's just a little over 1/4 of an acre. It's not huge, but it's not tiny either. I kind of feel it in my knees in not a good way.
Sure. Yeah, so it's funny. 2020 was my year to buy all the things online all the time. And I did a lot of little things. I mean, we had some slightly big things. And of course, with the sewing machine I bought just a week ago is a big thing. But I saved for several months for that. But you apparently are taking over 2021 because it's like, I would like a pressure washer, a riding mower, and what is that thing that you're looking at? It's a grill and smoker combo?
It's a pellet smoker grill, yeah.
I didn't even know such a thing was a thing. It's
Mm-hmm.
like, well, that's a lovely wish list to have.
Yeah, I know.
Then I was like, and then we were talking about different tools you need, and the new shed we're gonna hopefully
Right,
get for you.
yeah, I
was
know.
Like, 2021's your year. Okay,
Mm-hmm,
I'm just gonna be over here stitching and sewing, and it'll be fine. So. Yeah, that's a day in the life of homeowners.
Right. I mean, new tools. There's only really one thing I need at this point. Big thing.
I have the notes from our last business.
I know.
Don't worry.
I know. Well, and most of the things at this point are smaller things. The main thing is the dust collection.
I know.
To hook everything.
I know, but you also need the big pressure pot for that really big.
That I forgot about that.
Thank God somebody takes notes at the business meetings. Oh my God, we did a business thing, and I'm not it's between us, but I get an email from somebody who's like collecting our forms and our stuff, and he's like, I need a copy from the last board of directors meeting that y'all had for that your business had, showing that this approval and this resolution and this was agreed upon. They're only the two of us. It's just the two of us for the business.
Yeah.
But the way we've set up our business for tax purposes, you would have a board of directors.
Mm-hmm.
I was like, I typed it up. I was like, all these years of bullshitting my way through with the written word. Oh, they are all peaking right now.
All comes to
this
fruition.
Is what it was all for. I was like, we as the board of directors, I'm like, I'm typing
Voted unanimously.
To blah, blah, blah on blah, blah day. Had to pick a date because I was like, fuck, we've been talking about this thing for like a month. So what date did we decide? Sure, that day.
Mm-hmm.
And the person who I had to name myself as the person who was unanimously authorized to handle the process and to sign appropriate documents. I literally Googled board of directors resolution template because everything you'll ever need in life is on fucking Google.
Right.
I was like,
yeah.
This is what I've been preparing for my whole writing life.
and Song, yes, pressure pots are stupid expensive. I do have one at the moment. It's a smaller one, and it's actually a Harbor Freight paint pot is what it is. It's supposed to be used for spraying paint when you paint. I reverse engineered it and converted it to be a pressure pot,
which you learned how to do through YouTube, which is owned by Google because everything is on Google.
Right. The pot itself on sale with a coupon was under $100, and I think it was like $30 an extra pieces I had to buy to.
So for your big pressure pot, are you going to do the same thing but with a bigger one, or are you going to get an actual pressure pot?
No, it would be an actual.
Gotcha.
Yeah.
Gotcha.
No, it would be. It's specifically made to be a pressure pot. It's bigger, and it just comes and you
Gotcha.
put the lid on and do what you got to do.
The day that happens, I'll be very excited because the day we get that means we're doing some really cool things with the kinkery.
Yes.
And I'm very excited for those days.
I'm looking forward to that as well because
So
that'll be some
excited.
fun and interesting things.
It will be. It will be.
Yep.
Okay, we have rattled on because, of course, we have. Because that's what we're good
What
at.
we do.
That's what we do. We are going to go. If you've made it to this point, you might be interested in actually knowing. Kinky Book Club video goes live on Friday, January 29th. I do not know what time yet because we're going to do it as a premiere. But it should actually be uploaded by Thursday, so you have the premiere time. So if you want to be there for the video going live, you can be. But the video will live on our YouTube channel. You do not have to be there for the moment it goes live. You can watch it whenever. This first one's going to be a long one because we talked about each chapter of the book of Tongue Tied.
Yeah.
And we actually kept it relatively concise, but there were 12 chapters. So that is happening. We have to record another video when we're done with this. I'm going to crash emotionally after all of these videos today. It's going to be great. And yeah, and the Kinkery's got its sale, thekinkery.com. Use code KinkyLove. Patreon membership drive. This is the last time we'll talk about the membership drive because this is the last week of it.
We're almost out of January.
So when we are doing next week's episode, we won't be. So if you were like, I think I'm interested. But for real, if you don't join in January, you don't get the stickers or the whatever, but all those other perks we've talked about are still going to be there, and we welcome you whenever if you're able to. And yeah, I think that's it. So we're gonna go.
Yeah.
Thank y'all for being here with us, for listening, for watching, for
thanks for joining.
your time
as
and
always.
attention. This was a heavier topic than I thought it would be.
Yeah.
I think I dredged some stuff up for myself.
I think we need a lighter topic for next week.
I'll check the schedule.
Okay.
We were super professional and planned out 3 months of content. So we'll see.
Yeah.
We love you guys. We will talk to you soon.
Bye.
Bye.